My guest today is Senator Scott Wilk. Thank you so much, sir, for accepting my invitation.
Yep, thanks for having me.
Too. And it's my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much for your time. And I'm doing this video just to kind of explain, I don't represent any TVs or any radios or any newspapers. I'm just a video blogger, international video blogger. I'm doing this for our Armenian community and our local community. And I'm just showing the public that everyone can approach politicians in this country. And they can have a courage to come with their questions and concerns to you. And you are very humble and approachable in regards of that. And I'm sure they're going to be very well taken care of, their concerns and questions. Senator, I had a pleasure to meet you 2 months ago.
Yes.
And you mentioned in your conversation that you're Armenian by choice.
Yes, I'm ABC.
ABC. Can you tell us how did that happen?
Sure. Well, my bride, I call her my Armenian bride, is Vanessa Safoyan, now Vanessa Safoyan Wilk. And it was interesting because I have no idea what my ethnicity is because I'm your classic American mutt. But, you know, she's 100% Armenian. You know, her father was from Van and her mother was from present-day Turkey.
So, which is Western Armenian?
Right. So, you know, growing up, I just was enveloped by the culture, obviously. And then I remember when the big earthquake hit Armenia, and so, you know, we donated money, and we went down and volunteered to package boxes, you know, to send there. So I've always had an interest in it. And then about 4 years ago, we went to Armenia as a part of the official delegation tour of state legislators. And I was just really moved by my experience there. And I was there with the Speaker of the Assembly. And I said, hey, I would like to start the Armenian Legislative Caucus, which is something we've never had in the history of California.
Wow.
And the Speaker goes, well, under the rules, it requires 3 people. But there was a deadhead there. So I go to deadhead, what do I need to do to become Armenian? And he said, you need to be christened in the Armenian Apostolic Church. So when we came back to America, went down to my mother-in-law's church in Rancho Mirage and was christened. I came back and gave my certificate to the Speaker of the Assembly, and he said, you're good to go. And so now we have the Armenian Legislative Caucus, and what we do is we obviously raise funds, but with the purpose of educating people about the genocide. One, just to educate them so people know what really happened, and then 2, so it never happens to another people group ever again.
Gotcha. Thank you so much for that. It was like such an honor to hear that, Scott, Mr. Senator. I really appreciate that story. I was pretty much shocked, and I even did a video blog that like almost 28,000 people watched. So thank you so much for that. And Senator, I was actually doing research on your position on taxes recently, and it seems like you said no to 52 taxes, high taxes that's going to be increased, and you said no to that in California. And I saw that your position is actually against any high taxes. And you mentioned even in one of your interviews that high taxes are not solution for California's problems.
Well, so this, we just recently passed, and I voted no, as you mentioned, a $52 billion tax increase on gases and on car registration fees to go towards roads.
I see.
And clearly, you don't have to drive far in California to know that our roads are not in a good condition as they ought to be, and I fully agree with that. In fact, the governor 2 years ago in his annual State of the State address admitted that we're $59 billion behind in where we ought to be in terms of road construction and maintenance.
59 billion.
Billion.
Wow.
With a B. My problem is this, is that Californians are already paying taxes that are supposed to be going to roads, but the Democratic Party repurposed those dollars and into the general fund.
I see.
So myself, along with other legislators, introduced a proposal that would spend $6.5 billion on roads without raising the people's taxes. But they weren't interested in that. They're just interested in more taxes. So the problem with this is that we already have the money and we're not spending it. So now it's $52 billion, and it's a regressive tax, so it harms those that can least afford it. So case example, here in the Antelope Valley, we have 100,000 commuters a day that travel down below to Los Angeles.
100,000.
100,000.
Wow.
And some of those people travel 100 miles each way, right?
Yes.
And then Victor Valley's in my district, and there's about 65,000 people a day that go down to the Inland Empire, and then we have about 50,000 people out of the Santa Clarita Valley that go down to Los Angeles. They're people who can at least afford it. They've already paid the taxes into the system, and the governor and the Democrats have chosen not to divert that money. Let's put the money back and not raise people's taxes. Yeah,
absolutely. I agree with you, Senator. Thank you so much. I am so confident that you're representing us in the Senate that definitely these issues can get addressed. And I have another question. Since I'm Armenian, I'm a little worried about the issues that's taking place in Armenia. And I'm sure that you're aware of political prisoners in Armenia, because the United States condemned that a few times, kind of, not literally, but kind of condemned that. And I just want to get your attention to one of the political prisoners who was actually human rights. He did something really good for human rights. He brought bread for the people, starving people, and he was actually imprisoned for that. And he did a hunger strike for the second time they arrested him on false accusations. And then they released him, but it was too late, and damage was done to his body.
Right.
And he died. And United States being an advocate for human rights, I'm sure United States should have some kind of stand on this, and at least be aware of this, and maybe ask the government, the Armenian government, to address these issues actually seriously, because whatever steps we're seeing, it's not even addressed. That people are just trying to forget about this.
Right.
And then I also want to get your attention to one of the political prisoner who's right now in jail, and he's a United States citizen. His name is Scott Wilk.
Right.
And again, based on the false accusations, and he is there already for more than 8 months. I'm sure United States is also aware of that, because the letter was sent to U.S. Embassy about this. So what kind of stance do you think United States has on this, and what do you personally think about this?
Well, I mean, this falls under the realm of foreign affairs, which I, as a state senator, I represent the committee in Sacramento, so I don't deal with foreign affairs. But having said that, it'll be in September. It'll be 4 years. I went to Armenia. I did go as a guest of the Armenian government in an official delegation. And when you go as a guest of the government, you only get to see what they want you to see, right? And so it was interesting, and I was very impressed with Yerevan. It was as cosmopolitan as any European city that you could go to, right?
Yes.
But you go 20 minutes outside of Yerevan, and there's abject poverty. And the reason why we have challenges in Armenia is because it's not fully democratic. There's a lot of election fraud going on, right?
Absolutely. There's no question about that.
There's not really a true free market. It's kind of like an oligarchy that you've got certain families that are running it. I know it is less expensive to fly into the Republic of Georgia and drive down to Armenia than to fly into Yerevan because of the fees. You don't have an impartial judiciary, just as you know, just from what we've seen. So we have to demand those type changes occur for Armenia to flourish. I will tell you, I think our Armenian people are some of the hardest and smartest working and smartest people in the world. And even though they're landlocked, they've prospered and can prosper even more. But we have to have a level, fair playing field, and we need to have changes to the government to make sure that happens.
I think the only problem is with Armenia is the government that we have. Because see the location, you said that it's a locked land, and we know that Switzerland in Europe is in the same position, right? But it's thriving, and we know that it's not about neighbors also, because we have a few neighbors that's hostile toward Armenia, right?
Just a little bit.
But we also know that Israel also is surrounded by this neighbors, but they also thrive. So what I see personally, I don't think this is a location, and this is not a locked land and all that. I think it's just a government issue.
Oh, no, I agree with you on that. I'm just saying, despite those challenges, the people can thrive and prosper. And what we need to do, we need to have changes in the government. So it's got to be real. It's got to be democratic. We need to have a commitment to free markets, and you have to have an impartial, fair judiciary, because otherwise there's no incentive to invest there, if you've got people making arbitrary decisions, right?
Exactly.
So, and you know, there's too many people, you know, that are leaving, and I think there's people that would come back if we had those kind of changes, because we've got about 3 million Armenians in country, and then 7 million, you know, living outside. I think many of those would love to return, but they want to return in a political environment where, you know, they can do well.
It's poisonous. Absolutely agree to that. And just kind of quick, if you can make that, how do you see these changes taking place in Armenia? What should happen in order these changes to happen in Armenia?
Well, I think people have to believe in themselves there. You know, it was really interesting when we went as a delegation. I was really surprised at how we were honored. But the thing about Armenia is, you know, where it sits geopolitically, right? So you got Azerbaijan and you got Turkey. Who are both, you know, adversaries. Turkey historically has been an important player for geopolitics because, you know, they're a buffer with the Soviet Union, right? And then you have Azerbaijan that has all the oil, which, you know, goes to Western Europe. So you have so because of that situation, Armenia has relationships with Moscow and Russia, obviously, and to the south with Iran. And they have to do that. It's a matter of survival, right? So to me, it's like Armenia has a foot in the east and a foot in the west, and which is one of the reasons why I wanted to start the Armenian Legislative Caucus, so we can educate people, because I want them to come to the west, not to the east, because I think long term that is going to help the most amount of people. So in country, people have to push for reform. Outside, we need to educate the broader world about what's going on, and
I agree with you. It's kind of what system East offers and what system is West offers. And I think at this point, Armenia's tried what East offers, and it's definitely not working. So I think Armenian people should understand, and I think there should be more programs about that to educate people what the West system is all about, and see if that will work, and is that something that much more doable.
Yep, I agree with you.
And I have a question about the activists that speak about these issues in this country. And I raise this question because I was a victim of these attacks as well. So whoever talks about Western system, human rights and democracy and injustices that taking place in Armenia, etc., they're being attacked. And since this country, it has a law and order, you cannot solve this problems with these people by criminals or jailing them and stuff. They're being attacked morally and psychologically through the fake accounts from YouTube and Facebook, and that it's a big concern because a lot of personal issues, not only issues, personal information such as address and passport numbers, etc., being released over the internet, as well as the false accusations, pictures, not appropriate pictures and videos about that. Is there anything, Senator, that U.S. citizens can do to protect themselves, still continue what they're doing, focusing on the human rights and protecting people who don't have platforms to speak? They can represent these platforms for them to speak. But meanwhile, kind of be untouchable or at least protected in some degree. Is there any organizations, any laws, anything that these people can do or talk to, or whoever they can talk to protect themselves and their families?
Yeah, I mean, we're all still trying to grapple with this whole new, social media. In some respects, it's been incredible because, right, it just opens up all kinds of information.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, not all of it's true. And some of it's fake, and some of it's, purposely hurtful. But there's fake news all the time. The Azerbaijan government's done fake news on me, which
shame on them.
But I don't care. But yeah, when you're a leader and when you speak truth to power, a lot of times there's a price to pay. But ultimately your reward's going to be the payoff and getting the changes done in Armenia. So, we do have freedom there.
Absolutely. And as that being said, is there anything that maybe, because Senate can also raise this question, something worked up with YouTube and Facebook so they can have better monitoring of this kind of sites and better taking care of them? Because I myself tried a few times reporting these websites and these videos, and it's not being taken care of. So that's definitely, there is a job to do. Is there anything that Senate can do with that?
Probably, that probably have to be on a federal level because, because the the platform is really international. So if you did it at a federal level, it'd be easier because I don't know how you would just wall off California. I know after when I was in Arsak and I posted, it said I was in Azerbaijan, and so when I got back to America, I met with the number 2 person at Facebook, trying to get them to change their policy, which they refused to do. So, but we have to just keep fighting for what we believe in.
Absolutely. And the last question I have, Senator, for you, it's about our country, United States of America, which I'm proud citizen of, and I'm really proud about that. We have new administration in White House, and definitely everybody anticipating changes. What kind of changes you actually see in foreign policies or domestic, and especially about California, that you oversee coming?
I have no idea. I mean, the truth be told, I mean, I don't think any of us know. I think based upon what's happened, maybe he's going to take a stronger look at human rights, more so than we've done in the past, based upon his actions in Syria, Syria last week. I don't know, because that was an unusual campaign. I mean, I think everybody would agree with that.
Absolutely.
Although so far the people that he's hired, particularly in the foreign policy slots, are all accomplished people that have a worldview. So I think you're going to maybe see the United States stand up more for the rights of people.
Yeah, that's a good news for Armenian community and Armenians, absolutely. And what kind of changes you see coming domestic? Changes, the domestic policies. What do you oversee coming? Well,
he's looking to change, tax policy, which I think would be a big boon to Americans. I mean, we pay the highest corporate tax in the world, and our personal tax is high, and we make slight changes there. I think you're going to see a big reinvestment in California, and in America. When companies are leaving America to set up in Ireland, it doesn't make any sense, but it's because of the tax structure. So if he's able to accomplish what he wants to accomplish, I think that's going to be economic growth. So that's going to mean more jobs. It's going to be more money into the coffers to do all the programs we want, like all the infrastructure he wants to pay for. I think we're going to pay for it out of economic expansion.
I see. Gotcha. Right. Thank you so much, Senator. Do you have anything to say, Armenians or our community in Antelope Valley?
No, Jiget, I don't. But I was really thrilled to meet you a couple months ago, and I'm sorry it took so long to get together. But I really appreciate what you do. I think you're an important voice on this issue, and I just wish you Godspeed.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it, Senator.
All right.
Thank you so much. Let me just turn off the live.